Aloha, aho, aho, om, mani padme hum. Let's continue understanding, understanding, and overstanding the principles of growing our aura, creating the rainbow body, balancing to a point where we've let go of the layers covering our cores, and underneath we've discovered and remembered ultimately an extraordinarily blissful state of being in the world. And this comes from a union of the divine feminine, a union of the divine masculine, which all of us carry in our DNA, all of us carry in our purest essence. All of us know in our hearts what it is to be pure, the earthly, nurturing, yielding, divine feminine, the strong and protective, penetrating, divine masculine, the intuition versus the logic, and uniting logic and intuition together so that when coupled, we really see and recognize that true logic is true intuition, and true intuition is true logic. Now, we all have moments of precognition. We know someone's going to call because they come into our mind 5, 10 seconds, 2 minutes prior to them calling, and it may be somebody we have not heard from in 6 months or a year. These are the experiences that come to us when we are connected into that fabric of divine feminine, divine masculine, and then the subtle energy becomes more tangible to us in our extra sensory perceptions. These are all experiences that become more and more regular and normal as our purest states come alive again and our auras grow larger. And our cultivation of life force energy, it's purer and purer. So we already recognized a few principles that worked for me in the first recording. Our input to the output, what we're eating, what are we drinking. Let's touch on these briefly again. What is it we're taking into our body? What is it we're taking into our mind? What is it we're processing internally so that the alchemy inside creates an external infusion and ripples that out into the world? What is it that we're creating? Is it going to create coherence? Is it going to expand other people's auras? Or they're going to take their energy, be it unconsciously or deliberately? So the toxins we got to look out for, be it in meat or otherwise, those will burden our energetic systems. Those will slow down our spiritual metabolism. Those will impede our auric expansion. The experiences we choose, does this work? Does this walk? Does this relationship? Does this school? Does this teacher? Does this drive the vehicle of the raising of the Djed up the spine and light the inner fire and water alchemy of the feminine and the masculine to unite and ripple balance out through our fields? That's a question for us to track with our ego minds throughout the day. The ego does serve a purpose. It's there to protect us. Now, the riddle is to not allow the ego mind to be the driver. We want it to be the co-pilot. So when the ego mind is our co-pilot, we can recognize certain things that are about to trip us up, certain things that are working for our spiritual development, certain things that are not working. That's when it's our co-pilot. When the ego is our pilot and has free reign on our decisions, and our mind seems confused and running wild. And we don't necessarily have that access to the divine feminine, divine masculine union of coherence that we're discussing. That's when more dissonance happens, and that's when our auras may shrink. That's when the rainbow body is not even a thought. That's when we begin to borrow energy from substances or experiences or people, or get totally lost on the path and not remember why we are even here. We are all here with a mission. We're all here with a purpose. We're all here with wisdom to share. Getting wise from the domination that has been happening to the human soul for a long time. We're all becoming wise to that. We all have something to share with each other. It's the shareable experiences that go with us when we leave this plane. Not our cars, not our houses, none of the money, none of that goes with us. It's the shareable memories, the shareable experiences. That's what permeates through the infinite creation and recreation cycle of the human experience. And again, I'll touch again on the letting go of alcohol. Alcohol is poison by definition. And yes, poisons can become medicine. We can use alcohol to strip the essentials of a substance and make a wonderful elixir. But if we have just 0.5% of alcohol in our system, it'll most likely kill us. And what it does, and I'm not saying you got to be this total never drinking celibate guy to have a incredibly blissful, radiant energy body. A little wine here and there, whatever. But overall, alcohol in its purest form is a poison. And just as it strips the substance when making an herbal elixir to its purest state, it strips the spiritual essence out of us a little bit when we're consuming it. And it's good to recognize how we feel at the end of a day or the next day, at the end of a conversation, at the end of an experience with a group of people, with somebody, a substance, anything. And how do we feel the day after we've had alcohol? How do we interface with the world after a long night of drinking? And so that's an example of overall a degeneration, a retraction of our rainbow body, a retraction of our energy field, and inevitably it leads to disease, because disease is just the absence of ease, and ease is when there's coherence and the subtle energy is flowing effortlessly. We're grounded in the earth, the divine feminine. We're anchored deeply because of the divine masculine, which ultimately connects us to the heavenly essence above. And in between, in the realm of humanity, our hearts are open. And then the wheels begin to turn. Our chakra systems, another word for wheel, chakra. The torus fields activate. Golden mean ratio implodes. And the divine principles of feminine and masculine nature unite into one